Live. This is a later stream that I am doing because I'm testing out some new features for my channel that are going to enhance the look of it. So I have my universal chat right below me, and I have my screen for you to view. And then I can also switch over and, of course, you can just look at me and you can see the chat going on. If we're doing chat, we're doing question and answer. So I thought this was really cool. I was able to put this overlay, and I wanted to just stream this out to my Twitch channel and also over to YouTube Live. Let's see here. Oh, it says Stream Elements Attorney at Large is now live. And this is just kind of like a cool thing. You could ask a question. You could say, hey, Alex Napolin, Attorney at Large, goes live. You could ask him, hey, I need help. I was in an auto accident. I got hurt. What do I do? Okay, well, look, I can't give you legal advice. Okay, so if you've been involved in an automobile accident and you're injured and you want to, or you think you might be injured, you want to pursue legal action, you need to go seek attorney representation. You can't just, come to me on this station and ask me this type of question. You could, actually, we could talk about what you should do if you've been injured in an automobile accident. I need help. Well, you need help from a lawyer. Don't listen to listen to your parents, listen to people who you trust, take their advice into consideration, and also reach out to some lawyers. Now, maybe you have family members who've had lawyers and they've had auto accidents, so they want to refer you to a friend, and I think that's fine. Talk to their friend, see what they have to say, and then come on this channel and then ask your questions, and I'll tell you whether or not they're full of it. Alexander Napolin, Attorney at Large, goes live. No, I mean, you can't get legal advice from me. It's just entertainment. But we will go over stories in the news every day from the legal perspective. Mostly I'll be pointing out all the different types of torts and injury situations that arise, but it's also helpful for you. Because if you work in California, if you live in California, I'm a California attorney. You can call 866-NAPOLIN, and you can get me directly if you have a question about a legal situation. Now, I tend to be available, but sometimes I'm not, because I'm either doing a live stream or I'm in court or I'm working for my clients. So you can jump in the chat and ask me general questions, but if you need to speak with me, then obviously call my office and we'll speak there. So this is Alexander Napolin, Attorney at Large, goes live. It's a live stream. You can come in the chat, ask questions. I will give you my perspective as a California attorney practicing personal injury law, workers' comp. I've practiced all kinds of different law for people. If you have a general dispute, I'll give you my perspective on it. It's like maybe you have a dispute with a neighbor. Well, what should happen if you have a wall that divides your property and you're saying that it's the other neighbor's wall and they're saying it's your wall? And my probably just friendly advice for you would be to just split the difference and just split it with the neighbor. It's a wall that bounds your properties. It's required for both of you to enjoy the privacy of your backyards. You just split the deal. But if you can't get the other party to pay up, what happens? What do you do? Well, maybe you got to go to the municipal court. I'm in California. Maybe that's something you could take care of in small claims court over a real property dispute. Or maybe you need a lawsuit. But, just stuff like that. If you have questions, I'll give you my opinion. And, of course, I have most of my experience in personal injury law, in workers' compensation, employment rights. Okay, but I also have helped tenants and landlords in landlord-tenant disputes. Okay, I've represented employees and employers at the labor board for wage violations. I've represented many injured workers in administrative law hearings in disputed claims context. Like if you have a work injury claim and the employer denies it, we have to go to trial. So if you've been injured in auto accidents, I have litigated hundreds and hundreds of automobile collisions, injury cases. So, if you have questions, I have maybe some answers for you, something I can share with you. Or we can talk about this story. We were talking about this earlier today. I'm just testing out this stream. Say, oh yeah, bird scooters everywhere. How annoying. So bird scooters everywhere. How annoying. There are these bird scooters all over the place. And apparently in this situation, there's a bird scooter that got hit from the person who was driving crazy, and the bird scooter flew and it hit someone. And now that person is suing bird scooters. It doesn't really go into any details. It doesn't even technically say, it doesn't actually say this, that the bird scooter flew. You kind of have to infer it from the bird's statement that said the incident did not involve any bird rider and our vehicles were struck as a result of this incident. But it doesn't necessarily say anywhere in here that the bird scooter actually flew and struck any person or hurt anyone. So I don't know. I'd have to go find that lawsuit. But if you're out there and you've been struck by one of these bird scooters that's been in an accident, if you're just walking on the street and the bird scooter gets hit while someone's driving crazy and it flies and it hits you, is that bird's fault, or is it the fault of the person who's driving down the road? Well, it's certainly some of the fault of the person driving down the road. Here, someone's saying it's also bird's fault for allowing those things just to sit anywhere. So you make your decision about that. I don't know. That's what happens. But what the real, when it comes down to it, the reason why bird is being named is probably because the insurance policy of the person who's driving this truck speeding down the road is probably insufficient to pay for the damages that this person caused. So the driver of the sedan also sued the driver of the pickup truck, so they're injured. There's people in there. There's bystanders that got hit apparently by bird scooters. And there's people who are eating at the ice cream truck. And it sucks, No one wants to be put in danger through the negligence of others, through bird laying their stuff there. We should all have a safe society. So these lawyers are doing their job, and they're suing the companies that they think might have some liability. Now, I don't know what the law is in Texas, if it's comparative fault. So in California, if there's an accident, each of the players involved in the incident can be assigned a percentage of fault for causing the situation. So that might be the same in Texas where this took place. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so a little bit more, if you've been hit a bird scooter, or if you have been hit while riding a bird scooter, you might have a case. Call a lawyer. So just taking a look to see how that looks. Let's go back over to here. Okay. Oh, there it's popping up. Oh, interesting. Suddenly changed. It went dark. Why are those? Oh, yeah, that's because there's hardly any text there. I just can't see it. Interesting. Okay, so those are all coming up. We're going back to the story. So, yeah, I know I'm just kind of beating this one to death, but, I was looking through the news, and there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of political things going on we could discuss, but I'm more centering this stream on Twitch to Twitch users or anyone out there who's just interested in learning more about current events from a legal perspective, stuff that you need to know every day, stuff that just makes you a little bit wiser. That's, you're playing video games. We can play video games, but we can also talk about stuff that makes you a little wiser. I'm an attorney. I have a lot of experience dealing with negligence and negligent acts committed by others. So this is talking about just people just making mistakes and hurting other people accidentally. It happens mostly with automobiles, but it also happens when people leave things on the ground and people trip on them and fall. So it's a slip and fall, or when someone just allows their dog to just get off the leash and they're a violent dog and they attack someone. That's negligent. It's also potentially strict liability, depending on the state that you're in. In California, when I file those lawsuits, I just list tons of causes of action, have them all. So I just negligence, strict liability, so on and so forth. So anything that deals with that kind of stuff, you're out in the world, you're going to experience risk. You want to know how to mitigate it. You want to understand your legal rights. You come to my station, you listen in a little bit each day. And I'll be live streaming every day between 10 and 11 in the morning, at 10 a.m. and 4 o'clock. And you can jump in the chat. You can ask questions. So just kind of ask questions. So yeah, every day at 10 a.m. and 4 o'clock live. Come and see me. Let's leave some questions in the chat if you're interested. What we're discussing today is this, Travis, oh, look. So look at this. Travis County has never had a history of many criminal charges, such as criminal negligence, which would be the only charge that could arise out of this. In most counties in Texas, rarely do they file criminal negligence charges against drivers, although they could. So yeah, I mean, unless there's someone who dies, just like in California, unless someone dies in the accident, there's probably not going to be criminal negligence charges brought against the person, unless, it's a death case. Then misdemeanor manslaughter would potentially be brought. Although that rarely happens, if someone's not dead, if someone doesn't die, then, just general criminal negligence is not prosecuted. Not in this county, not in Travis County. So, the locals have their way of doing things. They're not going to press criminal charges. So it's all about the civil side of things. And that's a different standard. When you're charging someone with a crime, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that person committed the act and had all the elements of that crime. Like they had the intent to do it. There's no other reasonable explanation for what happened. But in a civil case, you only have to prove the facts as you state them by a preponderance of the evidence. So you have to prove the elements of your case, what happened, that it was more likely than not. It was the most reasonable explanation. And that goes for the nature and extent of your injuries as well. And that's what we mostly discuss when you're dealing with auto accident cases. Most of the time, liability is clear. One person caused the incident, the other person didn't. But sometimes it's not clear who caused the incident. So that brings you back to liability issues. But in most cases, it's clear. You find out who caused it. And now the main fight with the insurance company is how much are you going to be paid? So if you're out there and you think, oh, if I'm ever in an auto accident, it'll be easy. There's no issues there. If I didn't cause it, I'm fine. Nothing could be further from the truth. You have to protect yourself. You have to seek attorney representation. You should consult with your physicians. And this is just, general advice. This isn't legal advice. But if you've been involved in an auto accident, you need to look for professionals to help you. Because, just because you didn't cause it doesn't mean you're going to be paid well. Okay, for your injuries, for when someone has negligently injured you. Any questions in the chat? Anybody watching out there? Feel free to hop in. Subscribe to my station. If you're on Twitch, follow me. Hit the notification bell on YouTube. I'm broadcasting live every day, 10 a.m., 4 o'clock, 10 a.m., and at 10 a.m. and 4 o'clock. It looks like I have one viewer on Twitch, which is probably me, and I have no viewers on YouTube. It's kind of sad. Sad guy. Come on. Need some engagement, everyone. Okay, it looks like Dan Stoddard was seriously injured. Well, there he is. I wonder if that's after he was injured or before. Looks pretty good to me. Dan Stoddard. Oh, Dana. Sorry. Looks pretty good to me. But in any event, people have injuries in auto accidents. Maybe their legs are hurt. Maybe their backs are injured. And the insurance company just mostly tries to pay little on the claims. So like liability can be clear. It doesn't matter if it's clear or not. Sometimes it depends on how big the policies are. It depends on how serious the injuries are. So if you have a very serious injury and the insurance policy of the person who caused your injury is very small, maybe you will get that insurance policy even if you caused most of the situation. So it's hard to say, depending on how serious these injuries are, how much Bird Scooters might pay out on this type of case to make it go away. I don't know. It's interesting. It'll probably all be swept under the rug through some private confidentiality clause and some settlement agreement. That's the way that Bird Scooters is going to probably operate with the litigants. So I commend these lawyers for making the allegations. That's very cool. An interesting type of case. I'd like to see it go to trial and see what the outcome is for the jury, but I don't know. Maybe it's best that the plaintiffs do settle their claims. You never know. So that's for the lawyers to decide with their clients. Okay. Well, I'm testing out my different boxes here. It's an interesting situation. Maybe I need to turn my mic down a little bit. Maybe the gain's a little too high. Let's turn it down a little bit. Okay, I have the manual gain. That turns lower. I'm dealing with my audio interface here. And I have the gain that's the digital gain on the computer. So it's hard to, get it exactly right. If I play something on the screen, that would be a good test for my viewers. So
Root.
I wonder how that comes through. Oh,
Root.
you can't hear that.
Root.
You probably hear that only through this. So let's go take a test of it. Okay, now that with this, same time. Okay, so I'm talking, just testing this out. How is it coming through on Twitch?
The beaches and the countryside. That's asking a lot of just one route.
Okay, so that's interesting. Just running a test there. Okay, so anyone out there who is interested in learning more about their legal rights can give my office a call, 866-NAPOLEON. We'd be happy to speak with you about your situation. I'm a California attorney. If you're not in California, if the incident didn't take place in California, maybe you're a California resident, maybe you were working at the time, you were driving a truck and you were in another state, you were hurt in that state, I can also speak to you about those types of situations. So if you're a California resident, if you got hurt in California, I've represented people in Texas and other states who were hurt in California. They're now back home, and I help them prosecute their case in California. So don't be shy. If you're out there, if you come across my channel, subscribe to my channel, get the notifications so you don't miss out on the 10 a.m. and the 4 o'clock meetings that I'm going to do, where we're going to discuss current events from a legal perspective. You're going to ask questions, you're going to get feedback, and you're going to learn a little bit about the law and what's going on out there from a current event perspective. So you're going to see, okay, this is something new that's going on. Here's an attorney. Let's hear what he has to say about it. It's going to find it interesting. And then you can also ask questions in the chat. I'm going to give you the answers, kind of like a, question and answer thing. But be careful, because if you're going to ask about a specific case, if you want my input, just be careful that it's kind of generic and just keep it, non-specific because you're not supposed to discuss your case in public. Okay, so you'd be discussing a hypothetical case. It had nothing to do with your case. And I would, maybe give you some feedback. And then you decide whether or not that feedback was good. It's just something, you can gain a little bit of knowledge. It's general knowledge about the law. If you speak to your lawyer or you speak to a lawyer and they disagree, it's probably because they know some fact that I don't know. Or maybe I was wrong. I don't know. It's just entertainment. It's general in nature only. Read the disclaimers in the About section and understand that when you enter the chat, you're entering the public domain. And, that stuff's public. So going back over to this view, just checking this out and playing something here just to see.
Fruit.
And now testing it here. I may need to change volumes on some of this stuff. So this is important. Oh, better replay it.
Fruit.
Okay, checking it out, same time.
Fruit.
These things are seeming to be good. Okay. All right, everyone, signing off for now. I know there's no viewers out there at the moment. Maybe it's me, but I'm going to go home and be with my family, and I'll see you all back here at 10 a.m. on Monday morning. For Attorney Alexander Napolin, Attorney at Live, that's what I always say, Attorney at Large goes live. And I'll see you all here at 10 a.m.